Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. If it's your first time joining, thank you. If you're a previous subscriber or a new subscriber, welcome back. I would also like to take the time again to thank all the new subscribers. We are currently over 2,030 subscribers. I believe last time I checked it was right around 2,300, or I'm sorry, 2,037. I appreciate all of you that have taken the time to hit that subscribe button, and I really appreciate it. Okay, with that said, you can see that today we are completely different. I usually film from up above, and we're looking down at the table. But today what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be changing the needles on my multi-needle embroidery machine. I have talked about this machine a few times, but I don't do a lot of videos with it, and I have really taken the time, and I'm still taking some time to really learn this machine. And I know I will never learn all of it and use it to its full potential because I just won't be doing some of the things that that this can do. It's got some other pieces to it that I can do. I think it's called bead embroidery, or what are those little things called? Sequin embroidery, something like that. But this machine can really do a lot. And I wanted a industrial machine when I purchased one. When you go and you view multi-needle embroidery machines, you'll notice that a lot of them are plastic. Of course, this part here and these are plastic, but the body of this machine, this part is a piece, it's a powder coated metal here at the top, but this part of the machine, and let me show you here a little bit. Let me see if we can get a little, this portion of the machine down here, the body of the machine, and this portion all back here is cast iron. It is a heavy duty machine. And when I bought one, I knew I wanted something that was going to be on the industrial level because of longevity and stability of the machine. I didn't like the idea of all these plastic bodied machines. And I'm not knocking any of the more expensive brands. I'm really not. But when you get those machines, a lot of them are plastic bodied. And what I mean is this portion of the machine, like here, and the housing of the machine where all the components are inside of it, they're just covered with a molded plastic shell. This is actually a metal machine. And that's what I really wanted. I wanted the body to be a heavy-duty metal machine. I talk about this machine in another video, and I will link it down below when I purchased the machine. And so I'll either link it at the end of the video or in the description box, so you guys can go to that. But anyway, I have been doing 90... well, let's say 100% of my embroidery now is done on this machine. And it's faster, it's more efficient, to me anyway. Some people may still love their single needle machines, but what I wanted to do is with the YouTube channel and with eventually starting a small business, I wanted something that was going to help me get those projects done quicker, so I would have a faster turnaround, things like that. Okay. Some people have asked me if I still use my Brother SE625. No, I do not, and I probably will not have another video on that machine other than what's already on my channel. So I'm pointing up here. I have some shelves over here along this wall, and it is up on a shelf, and it stays up there, and I'm going to be selling that machine because I just do not need it now. the largest hoop is a 4x4 hoop, or the 5x7 repositional hoop, which I still have never even learned to use. I outgrew that machine very quickly, within probably 2 months. And then I upgraded to my FAF Creative 4.0, and I used that for almost a year. And I knew that I wanted a multi-needle machine. So I did a lot of research on machines, and this has been one of the best ones that I have found. Please check out the video that I talk more in depth on this machine. Okay, let's get to what we're going to be doing today. As you can see, this is a 12 needle machine. I don't know if you can, let me back you up just a little. I don't know if we're going to be able to get it all in this shot. Let me tilt up just a little. Okay, there we go. Okay, so these are my tension knobs, and you can see that it is a 12 needle machine. Also down here, it's got the 1 through 12 listed. A few things that I've done to make it easier. Up here at the top where the threads come through, I took a Sharpie and wrote 1 through 12 on these, just so I knew at the top which way direction, or excuse me, which little tube up here at the top where the thread comes through was going to be the one I needed. Okay, so like I said, what we will be doing today is I'm going to be changing the needles on this machine. There is nothing wrong with the needles that came with the machine, but for what I have been experiencing and with my thread has been shredding. So I have all my thread up here looped up, looped up at the top, just up out of the way. And with some of the things that I have been particularly working on, and the density of some of the stitch outs of the projects I've been doing, is my thread has been shredding. And what I learned through a friend is that the needles, so these are the needles that came with my machine. I hope you guys can see those there. You can see here that they are a 7511. They are a DBX K5, and I believe that is the size for my particular machine. They are made by Gross Beckert. I think I am saying that correctly. And what I am experiencing is the needle shred, or the thread shredding. I did have a couple needles break on some really heavy, dense designs, and I think it was just because the speed I was going at, things like that. So it was like a learning curve on some of the things with this machine, as with any machine. But the 7511s are usually the size that come with your machines, and they're usually the recommended size for multi-needle embroidery machines and single needle embroidery machines when you are using the embroidery thread. Okay, so with my needle shredding, I was not needle shredding, sorry, thread shredding. My friend told me that I should go up to a 9014, and you can see right here that I got some 9014s. And not only what I did is I purchased the titanium needles. So let me show you here. Let me get one out of the little box over here. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I am going to adjust the camera so we can see a little bit closer, and we can get down in here in where the needles are. So give me a minute and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have adjusted the camera. Sorry about that. I lost my train of thought there for a second. I have adjusted the camera closer to the needles here, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about when I mention titanium needles. So the 70 by 11 needle. You can see that it is a rounded. Can you see that the top of the needle is rounded? On a regular sewing machine needle, you'll have that flat back, but on the multi-needle embroidery machines, it is a completely round needle. And you can see that this is just a completely all, whoops, see how it stuck to my finger? It is an all one color, silver colored needle. Give me just a second, I need to get a drink. Okay, sorry about that. My kind of like had a little tickle in my throat there. Okay, as I was saying, this needle, the 7511, you can see that it is all one color. And what I did is I upgraded to the 9014, but what I did is I purchased the titanium needles. I'm going to pop this open. And put one of these back over here. You can see that it has a gold color to it. And it's a titanium coating on these needles. And what they do is they offer a longer life of your needle. So when you're stitching with a regular needle, usually I think I can't even remember what they said. Some manufacturers will tell you after every project you finish, change your needles. Some of them will say every 8 hours, change your needles. But that can get very expensive. So if you're doing a lot of stitching, these needles are supposed to last a little bit longer. The titanium needles, they are marketed to have, in my case for this brand, it says that they have a 3 times longer life than the typical regular silver needle or silver colored needle. It's not a silver needle. But anyway, okay, so enough kind of rambling around. I have changed, I think I have done 10 of them, and we're going to be doing the last 2. So I'm going to kind of move over here just a little bit more at an angle. I am going to zoom you in a little bit more. And what we're going to be paying attention to is this portion. Let me kind of tilt us down just a little bit. I hope you guys can see okay. Sorry about all that hopping around. I'm trying to move the tripod. So we're going to be this portion of the needle, and I'm going to kind of tilt us down a little because we're going to need all that in frame when I change this needle. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you on the needle that there is a front and a back to the needle. I learned this the hard way because my #1 needle broke. I replaced it with one of my replacement needles that came when I bought the machine. And I just stuck it in there and threaded the needle and went on my happy way. Well, I broke the needle right away. And sorry about that. You guys may hear little Luna crying in the background. I have my door shut. Anyway, what I learned was that there is a front and a back to the needle. And I hope you guys can see this. So can you see that groove that's at the top of the needle? So you see your eye of the needle, but there's this groove right here. Can you see that? Kind of like this little divot right here. That is the back of the needle. And then the front of the needle, let me get that spun around. There is a groove. There we go. I hope you guys can see that okay. All the way down the front of the needle. Here, there is a groove in that needle, and that's the front of the needle. Okay. And I think what that is that when the needle is in the machine and it's stitching, it's so the thread can be kind of in that groove of that needle. Please excuse my nasty fingernails. I had artificial nails on, and I developed an allergic reaction to the brand of bonder that I was using to bond the nails to my fingernails. And they damaged my nails really bad. They popped off and they ripped my natural nails. So I'm having to give my nails a little bit of time to recover. So you're going to see these nasty things for a while. I'm really sorry. Okay. Anyway. Okay, so there are a few little things that can make changing your needles easier. Okay, so needle nose pliers. And that's here. These are the ones that came with the machine. Now, you can see I have some stuff here on the ends of them. And pliers have this, can you see those, the grooves in there? That's to make them easier to grip. But you don't want to grip. You really, whoops, sorry. You don't want to grip your needles because with these on the surface, on the, if I was to grab this needle with these ridges, and grab the needle with that, I could make burrs all over this needle and damage it. I don't want to do that. So what I did is I put some moleskin on the end of the needle so I can grab the needle safely without damaging that needle. It's going to give me a soft surface, but it still grips the needle. Okay. You can also use little baby mini pliers like these. I mean, these are, see my hand, how tiny these are. Also, these have the kind of like teeth in here. You're going to want to cover those with something as well. If it's a piece of duct tape or if it's a piece of just some kind of tape over these so it's not going to scratch the surface of your needle because that it will affect your stitch out. Okay, you don't want any burrs on your needles. Okay, so the next thing, if you don't want to use pliers while changing your needles, you can use these nice little these are called needle grippers. Excuse me, it's a type of thimble, and you can tell it's a soft silicone, and they just slide over your finger like so. And they come either a medium and a large to a pack, or you can buy a pack that just has 2 mediums. But you can see how they fit over your fingers, and they're silicone. So when you are doing either hand stitching or anything like that, they help you grip that needle, and so you have some kind of grip to the needle besides just your fingertips. And I have found that these work really well when I'm gripping, and especially when I'm having to hold the needle in the proper direction. Okay, do you have to use these? No. I found these in Joann's, and they are in the needle point area, and I just believe they're called needle grippers. They do make ones like these. I think these are just called finger cots, C-O-T-S, or finger grippers. I'm not sure, but I found a whole pack of these in the office area, and they come in 12 different sizes, so you will be able to find one that fits your finger. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and use these, and I'm going to go ahead and go with needle position 2. Let me grab my screwdriver, and I have my needles here ready, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just, right here on where the needle comes through, I'm just going to push it down. And you can see this little screw right here. We are just going to loosen that. And you're going to turn it towards you. At least on my machine, it is towards me. And you do not want to unscrew this all the way. Ask me how I know. This whole thing, when I unscrewed this screw all the way, it popped apart, and part of the screw went flying. I had to spend probably 15-20 minutes looking through my room to find it. Okay, so I've got it loose. I'm going to pull the needle down and out of the machine. And nothing is wrong with this needle. So I'm going to save it as a backup, and I just threw it on the floor. So I'm going to save it in one of the empty needle packs. And I'm going to mark it that it's used. But if I am doing a project where it's just something really quick and easy, and I don't want to use these titanium needles, and it does specify a needle size of 75/11s, I can just go grab one of those and use it for that project. And then when it's done, I can just toss it. Okay, so like I was telling you, on the needle, you want to make sure that I'm sorry, I'm just not in the shot there. You want to make sure that groove, I told you about that groove. We've got the groove that goes all the way up the needle to the front, and the one where it's like the little divot out of the needle goes to the back. I'm really sorry, it's hard to see. Can you guys see that? There's the front, and there's the back. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put the needle up through the bottom, and I'm going to push this down, and I'm going to get that, make sure I get that needle up into that hole. And I may have to loosen this one just a hair more because it's not wanting to go in. Okay, now here's where you want to really pay attention. So I have the needle in there. I want to make sure that the eye of the needle is facing forwards, okay? But I still want to make sure that the back of the needle, like I mentioned, where that little divot is in it, is to the back. So I'm going to turn you just a little because I need to get a little closer. And this is where the needle grip comes in handy. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to lower this. I'm going to make sure that needle's all the way up in there. It will have a bottom out point in there, and you want to make sure that needle's bottomed out up there. That way you know you have your needle up in there far enough. And it looks like I do. Okay, I'm going to zoom you guys in, and I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it. Let's hope we do. Okay, so you can see on this needle, you can see the eye. On this one, you can see it. On that one, you can see it. And you can really see the different colors of the needles now. So this is the new titanium. This is the old one. So you want to just make sure that your needle is, this one is not turned correctly. Okay. And that one's really wonky. Okay. Okay, I am not getting this in there correctly. I'm going to have to do one more little screw because this one seems to be not wanting to cooperate. Wouldn't you know it, all the other 10 that I did off camera went in really easy. Okay. Okay, I think I have it in there good. And now I'm going to tighten this. Just, okay. Why isn't it wanting to tighten either? Go back up. Okay, I'm going to pause for just a moment. Give me a second. Okay, so let me bring you over here and show you. I did exactly what I mentioned that I did not want to do. So you can see here that I loosened the needle too much, and the screw that holds the needle into the machine came out. So now what I need to do is I need to make sure that I get this put back together correctly. So I'm going to push this up because there is a bar here that I need to make sure that this part is going to go onto that bar. So right here, can you see this white part? There's a bar up in there that needs to go around. And I need to make sure it goes on there. So this is not easy. I have done this. This is the second time this has happened to me. And there is a this little O-ring. Can you see that right there? It has, whoa, I really don't want to drop it. It has an indentation in it. Can you guys see that? Can you see that indentation in there? I'm really sorry. The lighting's weird. That indentation needs to go towards the top. And see how the screw came out? So I need to make sure that I get this screw back in there and partially threaded. Oh my God. Okay, so you guys can hear that hit the floor, but thank God it fell in a spot where I can see it easily. So I'm going to thread this back in there. Okay, see, I just threaded that screw back in there, and you can see that little bit right there. I'm just going to back it out just a hair. Okay, guys, so am I happy this happened? No, but it does give you guys the opportunity to see what can happen very easily by just that little, using your little, where's my screwdriver? Can you guys even see it? By just doing that itty bitty little turn just a little bit too far can make your needle, it come down off the needle bar. So now what you want to make sure you're going to do is get that balanced on there. Right now, these little doohickey things are giving me an issue because I need to be able to really hang on to this a little bit better, and that's not giving me the chance to do that. So when you put this on, you want to make sure that you get the, see how the hook is that you put your thread around? You want to make sure that that's facing the correct way. I'm going to put that back on top, and then I'm going to try to get this back on there. And guys, see, it's fumbly. It's definitely frustrating, and it is, when I first did this, I was so stressed out. I'm going to tell you guys, I was scared that I ruined my machine, and I cannot get this up there, so I am going to, I'm sorry if I'm doing like a lot of huffing and puffing into the camera. I'm just going to get this on there enough so I can get this screw tightened down. Sorry, I'm kind of like flipping you guys off there. I don't mean to do that. I'm really sorry. Okay, this isn't working. I need to back it back out because I did not have it on the bar. This bar that's going to be up in there. So I need to back it back out, but I need to make sure that that's in there still as well. So I need to one of the hardest parts I had is you have to turn this portion where the screw is. See how it comes through? Let me tighten that down. See where it's coming through right there? Right in there? I have to make sure that I line that up just right, because that screws into a hole that is on that bar that I'm trying to stick this onto. If you don't get it on there correctly, your needle's not going to stay in your machine. So I'm fumbly here, and I'm really sorry if I'm going to fumble a lot, but this is going to give you guys the idea of what to expect if you do this. It's stressful. I can't get this little thing back up on there, and I just dropped the O-ring again, and I'm going to have to pause so I can, oh, no, I see it. Whew, thank God. I was thinking it went way up underneath the machine, and I was going to have to get down on the floor to pick it up. Okay, so I'm going to try something that somebody else mentioned. You can take a piece of tape, and you can tape this up while you're trying to do this step. So that's what I'm going to try to do, and it's just going to make it a little bit easier, hopefully. So I'm just using a roll of masking tape, and while I was at the quilt show, I heard somebody talking about this. So now I tore off a large enough piece. I'm going to stick it to that, and I'm going to tape it to the side of the machine. I'm going to stick this up there far enough, and I want it underneath all of these needle plates, these needles, and I'm going to stick it up there. And what that's going to do, see how it helps just kind of put it up there a little bit more? It's holding it up there just a little bit more, not as tight as I would want it. So I'm going to try to hold this up tighter, and it's not working. Okay, but it does work a little bit. So what that's going to let me do is to grab my pieces again, and I'm sorry if I'm fumbly off screen, but I just need to get that up there just in, get the little Luna hair off of it. I need to be able to get that up there just enough so I can tighten that screw. Just enough so it will be in that hole. And I am having a issue getting that. I'm trying not to get my big head in the way. Okay, so I still need to push it up more. And I kind of got it maneuvered just right. I need to loosen this a little. And I dropped the screw again. And we're going to just leave that just like that. And thank God it dropped right under my toe. Okay, guys. So you kind of got the idea of how difficult this really is. And being on camera and talking about it's a little bit more difficult. I got a kitty yelling at the door that wants in. So what I'm going to do is I am going to pause the video, get this back on there, and I will be right back. Okay, really deep breath. Okay, guys, I got it back on there. You can see that the hook is on here. It's right there. I got it back on there, but I thought it better to pause the video instead of letting any negative words pop out. I was right at that point where I was about to start cussing it out. And honestly, it happens, you know, you get frustrated, something happens, and it's just not cooperating right, so you may let that little cuss word fly. So I thought it would, in light of keeping my channel, you know, PG, I paused the video. Okay, so we're going to put the needle back in the machine, and I'm sorry I could not get that part back on film, but let me tell you guys, I was getting frustrated big time, and I'm sorry, Luna is now crying in the background as well, and I'm really sorry, guys. Okay, so we got the needle in there. I am going to make sure it's in the correct direction. Then I'm going to grab it, I'm going to pinch it, and I'm going to push up and pull this down, and I'm going to push up at the same time and tighten my screw. You can just let it go up so it's up in there, and just kind of make sure this is where your little hang on, baby, I'll be right there. Your little finger grippies come in, because you can, ow, you can get that needle up in there and make sure it's in there correctly. Yeah. It's just one of those days today. Sometimes you gotta take it with the punches, I guess. Okay, so I got it straight. I'm gonna make sure that it is definitely up in there, and I'm gonna tighten that screw. Okay, so theoretically, well, maybe theoretically is not the right word, but usually changing your needles is a lot easier than what just happened. But that gives you the idea of what can happen. What should have been a very easy job to change my 12 needles turned into a lot longer than what it should have, because I turned that little itty bitty screw just a quarter turn too much, and it popped off out of the hole that's on the needle bar, and the whole thing just disassembled. So that gives you the idea of how easy it can happen. We're going to go ahead and change the last one, and I am not going to let that happen again. Pull this one out, and set it aside. Grab my new needle, and again make sure it's to the back. And sorry, I was off screen there. I'm trying to make sure I get this in there correctly. Make sure the needle is turned. Oops, a little too much. Sometimes no little finger grippies. Like I was showing you the finger grippies, sometimes they can get in the way. But if you do need them, there's always that option. I'm going to retighten this one. And you can tell I'm a little frustrated, and I'm sorry. But it happens. I mean, in all reality, it happens. It's not everything's going to go smoothly every time, and that just gives you the idea of what can happen while you're changing your needles. The things that you need to be really careful for. Okay, so I'm going to move you to the front, and what we want to make sure. I'm not sure if you guys are going to be able to see this clearly, but hopefully I'm going to put my needles back in the little case. This is the case that it comes in. I will show you that in just a couple minutes. But you want to make sure that the eyes of your needles are all facing forward. I know I have number 8 here Let me back you guys back out a bit. So my number 8 needle here, I know I need to loosen it and adjust the needle so the eye is straight. When you're looking at your machine, I'm not even, okay, hopefully that we're right. I know we're not right center on that machine, but when you are looking at your machine, you want your eye of your needle to be straight in and out, just like you would on a regular sewing machine. You want the needle to be straight, that groove, the divot that's in the back of the needle to the back, and the groove that runs up and down the needle to the front. Okay? Okay, guys, so I am going to adjust that needle really quickly. Then I will adjust the camera and we will do the closing of the video. Be back in just a minute. Okay, guys, so I got the camera back to the front of the machine. Now what you would do is you'd bring your threads back down, put your threads through each one, through all your thread guides correctly, rethread your needles, trim the lengths if you need to, and then you're good to go. Okay, so again, to recap what I did, changed the needles today because I was having thread shredding issues, and I was told from a good friend that has been doing embroidery for a long time that go up in needle size just so your thread has a little bit more room in the eye of the needle, and that can help with the needle shredding. I have used, I know a lot of people are going to say, change your brand of thread. No, it's not always the thread's problem. I've been using the brand of thread that I've used since the beginning when I've started my embroidery journey over a year ago. September, October last year was a year. So just a little over a year ago. And yes, this is my third machine in just a little over a year. I actually got this machine in September. So yeah, 3 machines within 1 year span, basically, because my first one was in October, I believe. So yeah. Okay, so that is what can happen. I am not going to edit that out of this video. I've had people tell me that they like my no editing because I do keep the mistakes in my video. Was that a mistake? No, because it's a learning experience. Was it a mistake on my part while I was operator error kind of thing? Yes, because I loosened that screw just a little too much. Just that quarter turn of that screw can make something like that happen. So hopefully that is a little bit of a learning experience for you guys. I am going to go ahead and end this video here. I will put a link to the needles in the description down below, and these again are the Gros Beckert brand needles. When you go to them, I will put the regular link for the non-titanium, and then I will put the link for the titanium. So please make sure when you click on that link, you pay attention to that. The non-titanium 75 by 11 needles were $19.99 for 100 needles. The titanium needles were $28.99 for 100 needles. That makes it 28 cents per needle. Yes, if you look at it that way, it is expensive. So basically just a little over a quarter per needle, or 25 cents per needle. So $19.99 divided by 100 is 19 cents per needle. So you can see that. So let me do the 28.99 divided by 100 makes it 28 cents per needle. So yes, what, 10 cents more basically per needle? Yeah, something like that. But yes, I do agree that 28 cents per needle is a little bit expensive. There are other brands that are higher in price, but you get what you pay for. These needles have been fantastic for me. These are the needles that were recommended by the manufacturer of my machine, so please don't tell me that you know, organ needles or what other kind of needles there are out there are what I should be using. I am using what was in my machine and what came with my machine, so that is what was recommended by the manufacturer. I don't mean to be rude by saying that, but I have had some people emailing me with some pretty nasty comments that the thread I use, the needles I've used, stabilizer I've been using are all incorrect. They're not the recommended products. But you do you, boo. And again, I don't mean to be rude, but that's just what was recommended by the manufacturers. So I don't have problems with what I use. So, okay, anyway, we're getting off that topic. If you guys have any questions, comment down below. Again, if you don't want to comment down below, you can always, again, email me at jsnc18@gmail.com. You do not have to capitalize the JS and the letter C. You can all use all lowercase, and I will get that email. If you do not want to comment down below, you can always email me. If you comment any negative comments, you will be blocked, and you will be no longer a subscriber of my channel because you will be blocked. So I'm sorry I have to do that, but I'm not going to have people that are negative on my channel. And just the last 2 or 3 videos that I have posted, I have had to block 7 different people. So that is just because negative comments. And I have my comments where I'm able to view them before you guys do. So, yeah. All right, guys, that's enough chit chat. We're going to go ahead and end the video here. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and we'll see you all really soon. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.